There are 4 phases to this entire project, what's happening. The first phase is to get people out of danger. Once people are out of danger, we could start thinking about what they should do and where they should go. The second phase is to get them out of the country to a safe place. And once we know where they're going, so we can try and see what we're doing over there. And of course, at the end is to try and resettle people in a place that they're going to be able to continue to live with a life of Yiddishkeit. Because many people left under pressure and chaos and panic, so they ended up just going anywhere without thinking about what will be later. And now we're trying to still pick up the pieces and bring these people back together. I happen to have been that the first 2 weeks that we were working, we stayed in New York and we're working around the clock 24/7. But for the last week, I've been in Europe. I was in Poland and in Hungary, and I went around to the borders and I saw what's going on, and I saw the people, and I was also back in Ukraine in the camp that we set up for the evacuees in Western Ukraine. And there's no shiloh that we have to try and find a way when the person is under danger to get them out of that danger. So for that, we were doing buses to get people to the borders. But at the same time, if we're able to have a shtickle Yeshiva Das, it'll help. Now, I want to go back to explain to everybody what happened here and how this, even though we prepared, but we were caught by surprise on the scale of what went on. We knew that there may be a war. It happens to be for 3 weeks before we were preparing in our Shuva, in our camp. We prepared a place. We winterized already. We had winterized some of the buildings. We redid the winterization. We bought a massive generator in case electricity goes out. We changed the boilers on the buildings. We were doing over the windows on the dining room. We were making a place that we could keep up to 300 people for up to a month. We invested money in food. We put a lot of money into this thing on the cheshbon that 100 kilometers west of Kiev will be okay. At that point, everybody was sure that Putin will come in only in the bottom south where he had Donetsk and Lugansk, and maybe he'll bomb Kiev from the air a little bit, but that's it. But we were very wrong. What happened was people started leaving to the refugee camp. Every time the Americans said the bombing, people went. The day went by, 2 days, nothing happened. They came back. They left and they came back. I myself went out to the camp. I was in Kiev still at the time with 100 people, Pasha, to try and explain to people the chshivas and the danger. Nobody believed it. On Wednesday night, when they said that there's going to be an attack, I put out the message. I was able to get maybe 5 or 6 families to move out the camp. On Thursday morning, after the attack started, I wanted to move people out. I couldn't find any buses. And then already the war was started already. And we were looking for buses and we couldn't find. Even though we had arranged with buses and even paid them in advance, nobody would come. So we finally found one bus. In the meantime, from the morning, I was sending people in vans, cars, anywhere you can, just get out of the city. We finally found this one bus. He filled up and left. By the time this bus got to camp, some people started leaving already to camp. They went to Lvov. They just wanted to go west. But we ended up with over 100 people in the camp. And on Thursday night, I saw that they're not going to be able to stay there. Because we figured out the way the Russians attacked, and they were now in Chernobyl. Chernobyl, if anybody knows, is down the road from camp. You come out of Machane Shuva, you make a right, when you get to the highway, you make a right to go to Kiev. But if you go straight to Ivankiv, that takes you straight to Chernobyl. And that's where the Russians were. And their soldiers were coming in down the road, mamish by the camp. So I told them Friday morning they have to evacuate. And I arranged for them to go to Western Ukraine to Pramishlan. They woke up in the morning, they called Pramishlan. The people at Pramishlan said, you can come, not a problem, but we didn't have any food, we're not prepared for you, but just come. They said, there's no food, there's no heating. Over here we have heating, we have food, let's stay here. I hadn't slept the entire night Wednesday night, and I didn't sleep Thursday night. But I dozed off for a few minutes when they were making that decision. And they didn't go. When I woke up and I asked them, why didn't you go? They said, here we know what we have, that we don't know. I said, you have to move. At that time, they started offering us to come into Belarus. We had a machloka, should we go, should we not go? Finally, before Shabbos, I said, whoever wants to go get on the bus is going to go to Belarus. Whoever doesn't want to stay in camp. They got onto the bus. They were about to leave. It was a half hour before Shabbos. As the bus was about to leave to Belarus, there was fighting around camp with bombs and missiles falling all around, that the earth was shaking, and they had to get off the bus and run back into camp. As a matter of fact, their stuff all stayed in the bus. On Friday night, I decided we should go back to our original plan of Machane. However, they already shut off the GPS because they were afraid the Russians were using GPS, so there was no GPS. On Friday night, I went to daven. At least I pretended that it was. I went to daven in shul. I came back, and I immediately got on the phone with the drivers of the bus. I turned on my Google Maps in Muncie, and I laid out for them a route, understanding and thinking that we knew where there were Russian soldiers or where there were Ukrainian soldiers to try and get from camp to go to the west. Maisa in the morning, they found out from the locals exactly which roads were better, and they used other roads, and they got to the Zhytomyr Highway, and they started going. At 7:09, they left camp on Shabbos morning. At 7:34, a bomb fell outside of camp that shattered the windows of the dining room and the Yasha's office, that main room. Maisa the whole day Shabbos, I was with them on the phone, and they got in Motzei Shabbos too for the Mishlan. They made Havdalah, and that was the beginning. On Sunday, I chapped that we have to get more people out of Kiev, and they started looking for buses. There are no buses. I called Tubal that runs Uman Express. He has the biggest connection with buses. I told him I need buses. He said, Rabbi Bleich, there are no buses. I told him it can't be. Tell me what the price is. He says, no matter what you're paying, people aren't going. I told him I want referral. I told him during World War II, people like a Bechol Bev Eismandel went to the Nazis, and he said, what's the price of a Jew? I heard tonight, we got today an unbelievable, beautiful brocha and a drosha that we're working on. I just got it now, a recording from the Skolander Rebbe. He said, if Haman paid Aseres Alofim Kikar Kesef to kill the Jews, how much do we have to pay to save the Jews? He said, from his grandfather. This was my cheshbon on Sunday, and I told Rafal Tubal, I'm willing to pay $250 a seat for a bus that comes, which means a bus of 40 seats is going to cost me $10,000. Plus, every bus got a military escort for the bus and put armed guards on every bus. It ended up costing us close to $500 each seat. He says, Rabbi Bleich, let me try. Calls me back a half hour later. He says, how many buses do you need? You should know that in this chus of this thing that we did, that's how everybody got buses, because this became the price of the buses. Became Oivel HaSeicha, everybody was able to get buses. So he called me back 2 days later. He said, if you want to know why other people have buses, it's because you made this price and you got people out. And Lamaisi was Zeicha since that Monday, which is 2 weeks ago today. We were able to get out thousands of people. We personally, our buses, we had close to 50 buses already, and got over 2,500 people out in buses, plus a lot of people that can go along with our military escort. Anybody that wants can come to shul in the morning and drive along with our buses. And in the front and the back, we have a military escort that takes us out. This military escort, plus the security, plus things, are expenses that nobody can imagine. For sure not when we were making our budget for how much money we have to collect before we started. We didn't imagine we're going to be paying for buses close to $1 million, or maybe by now even more than $1 million. We didn't imagine that we're going to have to be paying every single day over $10,000 a day for security. Even today, for the shul, for the school building, we're still paying. Today, for instance, a bomb fell in Abalon, right near our kindergarten and dormitory. We have our achrana, our guards that are there, so that people are not going to go in. The windows all shattered today in the kindergarten and the dormitory building. So if we would be anywhere else, if we wouldn't have any guards, would be nothing there. People would be able to come in. The same thing is with the camp, which is mamish right in the route of where the Russians and Ukrainians are fighting. Whoever drove from camp to Kiev understands what the route, what Bucha, Borodyanka doesn't exist anymore. The city no longer exists. The Russians bombed, leveled the entire city. Every single house, every building was bombed down. Bucha Today I got a call from a family that has an old aunt. They live in America, an aunt and an uncle, grandmother and an uncle that live in Bucha. I spoke today to an ambulance trying to get them out. Kamat impossible. Irpen, we had people from our community in Irpen. I sent in 4 times. I sent in special forces to get them out until we were Baruch Hashem able to get them out. They're in our camp. I started off with 3 camps. One in Machane, one in Belz, and one in Yampel. These were Achnosas Orchim that were built for Yidden that came to Kvarim. Baruch Hashem, I was able last week to take one big camp in Western Ukraine, which is near Munkach, and bring everybody over there. At the same time, I also brought over our assisted living home from Kiev, which had 62 people that were living there. We had to get some people in that were bedridden, that couldn't travel. I got them into a very, very good private hospital in Kiev that's costing every single day a tremendous amount of money every day for these people, 4 people. And the others were able to evacuate into this camp. Before I signed on this camp, I sat and I was tittering. Mamish. I was up at night. I was in Poland already. I was in Dinov, in a place in like also Achnas Sorchim, and I was tittering away. Why? Because I had to take upon myself an expense of $500,000 for 1 month. $500,000 for 1 month is something that we don't have. We don't have that money. The money that we raised, we spent, and everything else, it keeps on going and coming, and now another expense of $500,000. I tried to call different people, and nobody was willing to give me that, okay, I'll help you pay for it. I took it upon myself to pay for it because I thought there's no choice. We have to get the people together. It's going to be easier to service them. It's further away from where the bombing is, and at least these people will be able to have Yiddishkeit. It was very difficult to run 3 places at once. The people came, and the next day, Baruch Hashem, the joint said they're going to help us, and they're giving us part of the rent. But you have to understand, on Sunday, yesterday, I had to send out there exactly $125,000 to pay the rent and to put down the money for food. The first week is paid, but I had to be mechayev myself for a month, obviously, and I don't know yet where we're going to go further, but I'm just telling you, this is the metzias of where we are now. People have questions. Why? Do you realize that we have families in our camp? They cannot leave. They won't leave without the husband. If the husband's between 18 and 60, they have nowhere to go. Some people organized different types of adventures at the borders, which were Rachmana Islam putting people's lives at risk. According to the Shaila that I asked and the psak that I got, there was no reason for us right now to put people's lives at risk and try to do things that could put people's lives in sakana. And we're trying to work out a way without putting people in sakana that we should be able to get them out. At the same time, and I walked into Poland, into the camp that was accepting people, thousands of beds. I went around there. There were Yidden there, and unfortunately, we didn't find any Jewish organization that was there to meet them. Rachmana litzlan, the closest thing, lahavdil, to a Jewish organization was the Jews for Jay. There was nobody else there. You talk about thousands of beds. And we have Baruch Hashem, we have a big part in organizing volunteers to go out to the 4 places that have borders that are taking people. It's Poland, Hungary, Romania, and Moldova. These are the 4 places that have people. We got people out to the different borders, and now Baruch Hashem Tzibisla, it's working. Another thing that we were very, very instrumental in doing was getting camps for Frum people that come there. So Baruch Hashem, in Budapest there's a Frum place, in Romania there's a Frum place, in Chisinau there's a Frum place, and today we made up with the guy that I stayed by in Poland, in Dinov, that he's giving away his place also now for Frum people that come over the borders. And now the next step is to get the people to want to go there. Baruch Hashem, in Hungary, when people come through our border that we use, which is Koson, they can get kosher sandwiches. It's something that's unbelievable that we're able to accomplish that. Kosher sandwiches. Before Shabbos, I asked the Shaila if I'm allowed to go into Ukraine to be with our oil for Shabbos. I knew that it's a very, very important thing for them, that they shouldn't feel isolated the way they were. But it was a very, very also questionable thing to go back into Ukraine today when there's bombing going on. So I called up to Rahmat Srifka Rebbe and Etzisrael, and he told me, if it's a Suffolk Sakona, you're not allowed to go. I spoke to people that are in the security line in Ukraine, out of Ukraine, and Baruch Hashem, they allowed us to go in. I cannot describe to you the feeling of coming into the camp. We walked across the border into Ukraine. We were met by the border and driven to camp. When we walked into the camp, you can't imagine the feeling that people had. They were crying from joy to see that I came along with my wife and my daughter, and also my brother-in-law and sister-in-law that were helping us that came along. And we spent a memorable, probably the most meaningful and memorable trip that I ever in my life made to Ukraine was this Shabbos. And we spent the whole Shabbos there. And we machazik the people. And on Motzei Shabbos, they sat everybody down. They said, that's it. You no longer are refugees. From now on, you are evacuees. And yesterday, we started the kollel and the yeshiva. Today, we started the school, the cheder, and the girls' school. And tomorrow morning, we're starting the kindergarten. He said, we have to pretend we're normal if you want to try and people should treat us like we're normal, which means that every single person that's in that camp, you're talking about 350 beds, and we don't have empty beds now. I told them you have to get a job. Either you go to yeshiva or you go to kollel. You have to understand that from all the communities, all of the Rabbonim left Ukraine, everybody. We are their people. Anybody that wants to keep Torah and mitzvahs and have kosher food, either they left. What are they doing if they're stuck in Ukraine? So word went out, and I'm getting calls from every single community, even Kherson, which is occupied by the Russians. The Rov, his children are outside, called me. They want to send 10 people from Kherson. Anybody that's from, anybody that wants to be in a from place, this is the only place in all of Ukraine today. There is no other place. The guy that's writing in the people, Vadim Friedman, if anybody was ever Yom Tov in Kiev, remembers how he makes the seats for everybody at that table. He told me, he says, Rebbe, if you get another place with 350 beds, we'll fill it up also. Again, I'm not saying that this is going to be the final stop. We have to still look further and see what happens. It could be that we're going to have to take everybody out, and we're working on all of these plans as we speak. But at this point, we have now a collection of 350 beds, 350 people in a place that they're able to keep Shabbos and to keep Torah mitzvahs, and there's davening 3 times a day, and they have kosher food. The chicken is the kitchen was gekasher. There's mashgichim in the kitchen. I have people working there around the clock as long as the kitchen is open, from early in the morning to late at night. All of these things are costing wartime prices. What happens during war? During war, we see how the value of life, and we see how valueless money is. Because Rahman al-Islam, when the Russians come into cities, and like a city like Kharkov, that's over 1 million people, 40,000 Yidden living in Kharkov. They start bombing building by building, and people lose everything they had, and they're happy to run away with their lives. I have families from Kharkov. They told me their apartments were destroyed. They ran away in their car. They don't have clothing to change them to. Nothing. You start seeing what the value of life is, what the Rebbeinu Shalom gave us, that we have life. So I want everybody to know that's on this thing, that the inyan of that Solas Nefashos over here, the fact that we, our generation, that we were given this opportunity by the Rebbeinu Shalom to save people's lives. We were given an opportunity. I could tell you story after story of Chaprotis, the most harrowing, moving stories that when I think about it, when I think about the things that went on, Shabbos morning to get a phone call. Last week Shabbos, I got a phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning saying that they need money to pay for an ambulance to evacuate someone. And who has money in Ukraine? Who could pay? We need a payment in Ukraine instantly. This was from Ichud Hatzalah. And immediately I got online. I told them I could do it. Where do I have to pay? They told me where to pay. I made the payment. This ambulance left Odessa Shabbos morning to come to Kiev to pick up a newborn baby that had to be evacuated, 3 days old. 3 hours into the trip, they write onto the group. They said the ambulance refuses to go into the city. Who has a way to get the baby out of the city? And my buses leave at 11:30, 12 o'clock every day. On Shabbos, since there was davening going on in shul, I decided I'm going to make the buses leave after davening at 2 o'clock. I had one bus, a mini bus that went around to pick up old people and take them all to shul and leave along with the other bus. He got to shul. He had empty seats in his bus. So I told him, wait, maybe somebody else will come, and the bus left. All of a sudden, I got this call. They needed someone that can take this baby out of Kiev. Nobody has cars. There's no taxis. You can't get Uber. You can't get anything. I said, I have a bus standing right in front of the shul that can take this baby. And the driver wouldn't go unless he has a military escort in the city. So I'm not driving in the city. Immediately, we got him the military escort. It was the first military escort left with the bus, the first buses that left on Shabbos morning, Shabbos afternoon, actually. They went to the doctor's house to pick up the baby. And I was sure, and the people in the van were sure that the doctor's coming in with the baby. He comes down from his house, opens the door, puts the baby into the car. And that's it. And the lady that's holding the baby, she calls me up. She says, Rabbi Yankel, she says, I have to hold this baby. I don't know. I told her, you should know that you have a mazel. We have a mazel that you're in this van, that you're holding this baby. Otherwise, I don't know who would do it. And this lady, Diana, she held the baby and took the baby until they met up with the ambulance that came from Odessa. And by the time Shabbos was over, this baby was at the border, and we saved a newborn baby's life. I don't know if this baby will ever in her life know what hashgacha pratis and how many things had to work in order to save her life. On Wednesday, I got a phone call about a Jewish girl, a young girl that was injured in shooting in Chernigov. Chernigov is now a hotspot. You cannot get a bus into Chernigov or out of Chernigov. They're stuck there. Her brother-in-law called me up. He says, Rabbi Bleich, he says, nobody can help me. Maybe you have an eitzah for me. We need money. I think, an ambulance that will go in and evacuate my sister-in-law from the hospital. So otherwise, her life is over because she's getting an infection where she was shot. I told him, send me your account number right now. On the spot, I was in the car. I told him, I'm sending you the money. I trust you. I know you. He's a guy that used to be a businessman. And he says, Rabbi Bleich, I promise, if it goes, we'll use the money. If not, I'll send you back the money. I sent him the money immediately. On Friday afternoon, I got a video of this girl being evacuated from Chernigov. You have no idea what this means to be evacuated from Chernigov. People are not being evacuated from Chernigov today, at least not in real life. And Baruch Hashem, she got out. Her mother said, for a week, I didn't find a human being that was willing to talk to me or listen to me to help me get my daughter, save my daughter's life. And she told me, she said, thank you so much. You were the first person that listened. I got calls from Little Shtetlach, from Korestin, whoever knows Korestin. Korestin used to be a Jewish city. Yossel Shkolnik, the one that takes care of Korestin, he calls me up. He says, Rabbi Bleich, I can't get my people out. What am I doing? I said, I have 3 people now that want to leave. There's no way for them to leave. I said, there's no cars? He says, no. I said, do me a favor. I said, Yossel, listen to me now. I said, $250 a Jew. I said, I'm sending the money right now. Send me the account. I sent the people the money. An hour later, they called me. They said, Rabbi Bleich, we're on our way out of the city. They found the driver for $750, took the 3 of them and drove them over to our camp to Western Ukraine. They got there on Shabbos morning. And v'chaheinu rabbis, I'm telling you, thousands and thousands of people's lives saved by money. During the Milchama, he was begging and crying to people. He says, give me money, I'll save lives. Give me money, I'll save lives. I got a call from a woman in Square, in New York, New Square. She was crying on the phone. She said, Rabbi Bleich, I don't understand you. You have an online thing. She said, my husband is in business. I have a smartphone. I knew there's a thing. He said, every minute I'm reliving. My father was a Holocaust survivor. Every single night he would sit with the children and cry. Where were the American Jews? Why didn't they save us? Why didn't, with money, we could have been saved? She says, how could you not get into all the Chassidish places that don't have internet? Help them also. We want people to save lives. She said, I'm paying for an advertisement for this week in the local, whatever it is in Square, the newspaper, the paper that goes out in shul. I'm paying for advertisement because I want people to be able to save lives. She said, I don't want to ever have to tell my children what my father told us. I never want to have to say, why didn't people give more money so we could save more lives, she said. This is an unbelievable opportunity that we're getting, that we have now to save lives with money, something I don't know if in our generation was ever such a time. 360,000 Yidden in danger. Let's say 20,000 left, 30,000 left. We still have well over 300,000 Yidden in Ukraine today. We have over 100,000 of them are elderly. It's difficult for them to leave. They can't get out. Even if we're able to evacuate, there's ambulances that are working every single day, all day, to the border, from the border, to the border, from the border, evacuating elderly. They can each take one, sometimes two people. And if we have 3 ambulances, that means we're getting 6 people out a day, 8 people out a day. But then you're talking about over 100,000 people that are elderly, that can't move. When I took out our assisted living home, which, like I say, was over 60 people. I got a call from the joint. They said, Rabbi Bleich, what did you do? How did you do it? The joint is trying to get people out of the city. They rented a place. They have 100 beds. 100 beds they have in Truskavets, which is near Lvov. And I myself took out people that were living in assisted living home that couldn't even move. These are things that are l'mayla b'der chateva. And a lot of these things we can't even, I'm not keeping a diary, but many people are trying to keep a diary of what happens day to day. But the reason why all of you are here is because all of you have been to Machane Shuva. All of you have seen Kiev. All of you understand that this stuff is real. All of you know people there. All of you have a feeling. You have emotions. You know it. We could save lives. You could save lives. You come to somebody else, they say, Rabbi Bleich, people call me, said there's 25, 30 pages. I don't know which charity page should I give to. Who should I give to? He said, give to mine. But I'm saying the point is that, what do you mean? Who should I trust? How come this organization has 4 pages and then this one, that? All of these questions. We don't have any questions. I told them I don't have time for this stuff. We have all of you who know exactly what's going on. You know what Machane Shuva looked like. You know what Machane Shuva today is being used by the Ukrainian army, by the way, so we'll have to wash the linen before it ever comes back with Shem. The fact is that this is it. This is your chance. And we don't know how this chance is going to go on. We don't know how much longer. There's a wave now that there are less people going out every day. Why are less people going out every day? Because people say, it's quiet, maybe nothing will happen. People think that maybe things calm down, then it won't happen. The moment bombing begins, when people can't leave anymore, then we know that we can't do anymore. That's going to be the dangerous part. In Kharkov, the Rav of Kharkov, very, very close friend of mine, Lubavitcher Rav, he tells a big Talmud Chacham. He didn't plan on leaving. Suddenly he couldn't leave. There were bombs falling all over his house. The Rav of Cherkasy, also a massive Talmud Chacham. He called me up on Monday. And he says, Rabbi Bleich, I have to get out of here. I have no way. I have no buses. I sent him buses. I immediately sent him 2 buses and I got him out of there. His son-in-law and daughter were in Kiev, Lubavitcher Shluchim. And they came along on one of my buses. He called me every minute. He says, are they out yet? Did the buses start moving yet? Finally, when he got to the border, I told him, I said, Reb Doiv, tell me one thing. I said, I know you're Lubavitcher Chassid. I know you planned on staying. Suddenly you ran. Could you tell me, you asked a letter from the Sikhs, from the Mechtovim of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, what made you change your mind all of a sudden that you were running like a madman to get out of there when the day before you were sitting? He said, I didn't have to ask any letters. I didn't have to ask any shilas. There's a mitzvah in the Torah, and the Shmartim, so the Lubavitcher Rebbe kept the mitzvahs also. I didn't have to ask any questions. So Mokim Sakano, you got to move. You got to leave. That's it. We asked shilas because there were people in our shul. We had, at that time, 60, 70 people in the shul. The first Shabbos, Friday afternoon, 40 people pulled up to shul. Last night here I'm in Budapest now. This night, I was sitting in the restaurant. A couple comes over to me. I recognize them from Kiev. She comes over and she says, Rabbi Bleich, I want to thank you. We spent Shabbos in your shul 2 weeks ago. I said, really, it's nice. They came in Friday afternoon. Shabbos afternoon, they left. Shabbos afternoon at 5 started curfew until Monday morning. At 4 o'clock, the Lubavitcher Rav from down the block, Rabbi Vashetsky, came. He took whoever was able to and evacuated them out of Kiev, his 40 people. But we still had our 60 people there. I took them all out. So now we only have, after I took everybody out, now we only have 30 people in the shul because more people came. They wrote to me yesterday, they want to make Purim. How should they make Purim? How should they learn Megillah? Are they allowed to celebrate? Not allowed to celebrate? What should they do? How should they do? These people are not leaving. It's very hard for them. One has a sick mother, the other one has a sick sister, whatever. There are different reasons that I can't be done and judge people why they didn't leave when I begged them to leave. This is our chance. Our chance now is, as I said again, it's to help people that are in Kiev, help people that are evacuating to Western Ukraine, help people that are evacuating out of the country, and then help people that are resettling that want to be Eden. People are resettling, we don't realize what's going on. People are coming to Israel, they're lost. You would imagine that the state of Israel, which was set up for Jews, by Jews, would be open to take people in to save lives. But unfortunately, it's not happening that way. And when people are even coming to Israel, it's very, very, very difficult. Even though from our community, the people that came to Israel, the shluchim that worked in Kiev in the past are there trying to help them. It costs tremendous amounts of money. If we relocate the community to somewhere in Europe, it's going to cost tremendous sums of money, which we don't have. Again, we don't have that money, but we have Siyat Tishmaya, we have Bitochen. The Eibush is going to help us. We're going to be able to save as many people as possible. Don't forget, we have, out of the 350 beds that we have in our camp, many of them are people that are not part of the Kiev community. They're from other communities. And they came over to me on Shabbos. They said, Rabbi Bleich, if you move your community, are we going to be able to go with you? If you get your people out, are you going to take? I said, right now, you're part of our community. We're not splitting who's from where, what. Right now, we're all together in one place. Everybody has to help one another. We brought them food. We brought them medicine. We have a doctor there on campus. We have a nurse there. We have a Rosh Yeshiva and Mashgichim and a Malamdim and teachers. Everybody had to have a job. And Baruch Hashem, everybody's working. It's costing us a lot of money. But Baruch Hashem, this is what the story of the day is. Besides that, everybody that left Kiev, I told them, I paid everybody that was able to pay up until March 1st. And I told them, B'li Neder, they should help. We're going to have Siyat Shmaya. We'll pay everybody till the end of the year. People had to run. I'm talking about Israelis even, not Ukrainians. Israeli families that were working in Kiev that ran away with the shirt in the back. Yaakov Schindler, many of you know him. He ran away with his wife on Thursday morning. He ran for his life. He came to Israel. Yaakov told me, he says, he doesn't have anything, nothing to start his life over again. Baruch Hashem, I gave him. I told him, I said, I'm going to help him. His wife was a very, very big teacher. He was a part of our community, even though he taught in the cheder that was Rabbi Lubavitch, but he was a part of our community. I could go on and on. It doesn't stop. The need is there. If there's a will, there's a way. And I'm begging whoever can help, volunteer. If you have money, give money. If you don't have money, raise money. If you can't raise money, help in other ways. I can't believe it. For 3 days, we're looking for volunteers to go to Flatbush and to Borough Park, to stand in shuls, to swipe credit cards, and we can't find people because it's crazy what's going on in this world today. It's not. People ask me, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? Stand in front of the shul and take credit cards. Nobody's home. You're talking about Erev Purim. One guy tells you, he says, what do you mean, Purim? I have to go on my trips. I have to go on my groups. I can't go stand in shul and collect money for this. Whatever it is, I'm not being judging anybody. I'm just telling you this is what it is. Revach vatzolo yamid lehudim. Kiyim hachrish tachrishi beis hazois. How did Mordechai Tzaddik have the guts to tell Esther, Kiyim hachrish tachrishi beis hazois, Revach vatzolo yamid makom acher? How did he have the guts to add those words v'ataveis avich tevedu? How did he know? Why v'ataveis avich tevedu? For what reason? Is she mechuyev? And because when the Eibishter gives a person an opportunity to do something, to save Klal Yisrael, there's a reason why you're living. Al shechi yisonu v'kiyam tonu. Kain techayenu uskaimenu. The same way the Eibishter gave us life and kept us alive until today, that's the way the Eibishter is going to give us life and keep us alive tomorrow. But if we don't appreciate what he gave us until now, so he's not going to give it to us further. These opportunities that we have now, they're here now. If they're going to be here tomorrow, I don't know. Next week, definitely don't know. But if we're not going to use these opportunities that the Rebbeinu Shalom is giving us now, if we'll miss these opportunities, Mordechai Tzaddik is standing there shuckling with the finger. He says, Revach vatzolo yamad lehudim. The Sklan Rebbe in this thing said, if there'll be Hatzolah, there'll be Revach. He said he promises every single person that's going to give money for this campaign, he's promising him that he's definitely going to have Revach if he takes care of Hatzolah. And I said also, I added the Artsachos, Tzedakah Tatzil Mimovis. This is a time that you know your tzedakah is going to save people from sure death. It's an unbelievable opportunity, and I hope that Abe should help us, that we should be zoicha on Purim, to the nisim of Purim, of Benahafechu, that everything should turn over. And the Rebbeinu Shalom is Akol Yochel. He's the one that's running this war. He's the Baal Melchamos. He's the one that's Zoirei Tzedakahs, that we're able to be koitzer now with his tzedakahs. That Abe should send us the Yeshua, and that we should be zoicha to celebrate on Purim the way Yidden have celebrated all of the years, with all the nisim, that they should turn everything over, that should be zeicha to the Geula Shalema, and we should be zeicha to celebrate with everybody all together, all of Klal Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael. Spasiba Zavnemanya and Afreilichem Purim.
Before everybody goes, Rabbi Emanuel from England, him and Rabbi Nosson Feldman were really been working day and night also for this campaign. Rabbi just leave us with a quick message. Just want to say one thing before your Bechil starts. If anybody has any way that they feel they can help, you could send me an email to info@jewishkiev.org, info@jewishkiev.org, or you can take down my cell phone number at 732-833-3253. If there's anything that you need to that we can give you to help us, help Klal Yisrael. Yechiel, take it over.
I want to just add in my own thanks to Yechiel and to Nosson, without whom this campaign would never have happened the way it happened. And they got, Baruch Hashem, they got the Brits. They're really all involved. Many people, a lot of money, Baruch Hashem. But the main thing is that they brought in so many people to do this, to participate in this campaign, that it blows my mind. It's mind-boggling. I must be honest with you that for the first 2 weeks of this whole thing, I wasn't able to look at the campaign that much because I was busy really all day and night. And Baruch Hashem, now I hired someone that's helping me with the buses and with everything else to get things moving much more efficient. But at the beginning, I had to do all of that myself because the people were leaving so fast, we couldn't get it moving. So thanks a lot to Yechiel and to Nosson for all that you're doing.
Okay, Shkoch Rabbi Yankel, I'm not going to add much. It's quarter to 1 in the morning here. And after your impassioned words, I don't think there's much that needs to be added. But what I want to, you mentioned what Madcha Tzadik said. I think Esther's response was, Lech kanoises kol haYehudim. Whatever we can do it. I started this. I'm not a fundraiser by trade, and it's not something that I've done any training in whatsoever. We feel for it. We've been to Machane Shuva. We were there. You guys were there. You know what it's like. Some of you have been to Kiev during the year. We've been there during the year. We know these families. These are Erliche Tzmimistik Yidden. These are people who have left everything behind, and I talk to them daily and hear from them what's being done for them, their gratitude to Rabbi Yankel, and it's phenomenal what's going on. To raise money for this is really not difficult. If you've not done this type of thing, it's nothing to be afraid of. I understand someone may be a little afraid, raise money? I've never done it before. People that we're going to, Haimisha, secular, it doesn't matter who they are, they're throwing money at us. They're giving again and again and again. We're now on our third, fourth round with some people, and they're giving not just less, they're giving more than they were giving before, if not the same, and many times they're giving more. If everyone could take on a minimum of $10,000 goal to get in a week, and I'm telling you, it's possible. Just go for it, you'll see. Start to take it on, and people will give it to you. If you're passionate about it, you've got to be passionate about it yourself. You've got to feel for these Yidden. You got to know who they are. You've met many of them. They're not anymore. Some of them are not the kids that you had as kids in your groups. Today they're adults. They've got families. Every one of these people that we're saving is going to have their families. They're going to have their Einekach, and they're going to have Be'ez Hashem. And another major part of Klal Yisrael. We can stay there. We can do it. I've spoken to Mike Kahila as well. People are throwing money at us in order to be able to. You've got friends. You've got relatives. You've got colleagues. You've got friends. Tell them to send on. Send on some of the clips that are there. Send on some of the passionate descriptions that you hear from Rabbi Yankel.
I'm sorry, I'm just being moist of one thing. That right now, everyone is in the giving mode for Ukraine. They just don't know where to go. They just don't know which is the trusted source. Everyone on this call could say they know what's going on. They've seen the work that's happened, and they heard firsthand. It's not a guzma. Rabbi Bleich did not get up here and say it's costing $10,000 a person to get out. He said very clearly exact costs. It's $500,000 for 350 people for the month. That's the exact cost. It's not. We could blow up numbers. These are very, very real numbers. I add
that you can go. Every single guy over here can go. Man, woman, boy, girl. You can go with the confidence of knowing that you're going to people here with real information in real time. You can back it up. There's pictures that are being put out. There's footage that's being put out. It's something you can go with tremendous confidence. You come with that confidence, whether it's to Rabbanim, Gedolim, and I've been in touch with various of them as well. We have a letter that's coming out from our local Rabbanim, Rosh Yeshiva. If you can come with that confidence where you're knowing that every single penny, every single cent is going to the right place, you can speak to the people there, you can hear it, you can see it. You have that confidence, share that with people, they will throw money at you. I know it sounds ridiculous. I wouldn't have believed it if someone said that to me myself. But this is going to end. There's a Malbim on the Megillah that says that every Torah there is for Klal Yisrael has a designated date when it's going to end before the Torah even began. Not just a designated date, a designated moment. When that moment comes, we won't be able to take part in this anymore. Be'ez Hashem, it should happen quickly. But until then, we can chaparain, and we've got a chaparain. This is our calling. David's just talking to us. These people have left with nothing, and it's a lesson for us maybe on how much less we should run after materialism. But if we've got it, we've got to share it as well. And we've got koiches and we've got contact. Get out there, and people want to help. Tell them the story. Tell them what you've heard. Tell them what you know. Tell them you know some of these people personally. Any personal additional information always opens up people's hearts. There's not much that you need here. There's a lot of apathy in some of the places that I've seen because of a lack of knowledge. People don't understand. They've not been out to the borders. They may not have, some people don't have access to the media in the way that others of us do. Some people don't have access to the people there. Give them information, share it with them, tell them about it, express it. Tell them you heard from Rabbi Bleich tonight, who was in Ukraine over Shabbos. Pieces of information like that really open up people's hearts and make them have an understanding of their awareness. There's a real opportunity here to be matzil nefashos. And we can do that for $500. You can save a life. Guys in England, it's for less than £400. You can save a life. There's many people who will do that, and they'll save it for go to them again and again. And now's the time that we've got to do it. I think we need to flood shuls with this information over Purim. People are there. I don't know how much they're going to be on social media and on the platforms, but shuls, people who can go around. Tanis Esther, by Megillah, by the day, by Mincha. People want to give. Go around we have a flyer that's going to be put out with pictures, with captions. Flood your shuls with it. Flood your meisters with it, and then get people to go who you know into the shuls and into the meisters. That's what we're doing, and it's going to work. It will work. We'll continue afterwards. We'll take it to a different level. But I think for now, you didn't want to give. They want to support. They want to help real Hatzalas Nefashos.
And we have a WhatsApp group. If anybody here was invited, not through the WhatsApp group, whoever invited you to this Zoom meeting knows about some type of WhatsApp group that we have a few different WhatsApp groups with information. The people can be constantly updated on what's going on every single day. Rabbi Bleich gives a message, of what's happening, what happened that day. With the quick updates, and it's really, really inspiring how much everybody's helping. But the end of the day is I'm watching the money come in, I'm watching the money go out from the front, and the end of the day is that everybody thinks we raised $2.5 million online. Rabbi Bleich, do we have a number exactly how much money was spent already over the past 3 weeks? Over the past 2 weeks, we spent over $2 million. Over $2 million was spent already. And I'm telling you that we were already mechayev ourselves for the money that's in that bank, because we still didn't pay we only paid for 1 week of the camp so far. The deal is we have to pay them every Sunday. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. Yesterday I got half of it. Today the rest of the money was transferred over to camp to pay. I had to pay for the rent yesterday and for the food today. That's how it's going. That's besides $10,000 a day in security in Kiev. That's besides
it's like $28,500 per bus, more or less. $30,000 per bus. $35,000 when you take into account security.
And that's besides special missions that happen 2-3 times a day that cost another few $1,000s each mission. So we're talking about when this past week it was almost $150,000 a day. When you had a few buses running, it seems like the buses are going to be slowing down now. They did slow down. It looks like they're going to be speeding up, because today there was a bomb fell in Kiev next to our kindergarten. I told you, on Bogatirskaya Street, right near the kindergarten, the girls' dorm.
a bomb fell. So right now, again, the bus. I thought tomorrow we wouldn't even make a bus because I saw people slowing down. The borders were empty, but Lamaisa, the Meira, Genner Belaritsky's wife, who's sitting in that Yisrael, the Mesiris Nefesh, registering people. She told me that she has a bus. So that's it. I ordered a bus for tomorrow again. Even though I'm telling you, I thought that's not happening. So Baruch Hashem, you should know, by the way, we are the only ones that's still having buses going out of Kiev. Everybody else stopped their buses already because they can't fill them up. I was coordinated with all of the other places that had buses, and even some days they had nobody. I took their buses and filled it up because we had people without buses. But Lamaisa, every single day, besides Shabbos, this past Shabbos, we didn't have a bus. And the reason why we didn't have a bus is because Meir didn't want to do the registration on Shabbos because she's with her kids without a husband. She said you have to find somebody else just for Shabbos. She had to have one day off. So we took all the people that came on Shabbos to shul and we put them into the hotel overnight. This is what our hotel now is free. Anybody that comes to our hotel could sleep and eat in the hotel until the next morning when the buses go. Every single day we have people coming.
Your shul, Rabbi Yankel, your shul must be the only functioning shul at the moment in Ukraine.
It's the only one that has a minyan 3 times a day in that, yeah. There's a minyan 3 times a day in the shul.
So that itself, it's the only shul running, and you're the only Haimish account where people can come and have minyanim, Shemitah mitzvahs, kosher food. That's in Ukraine still.
Yeah, we're still there in Ukraine.
So that's also when you're going out to people, tell them you can sponsor a meal, you can sponsor a seat on a bus, you can sponsor a Purim study, you can sponsor a day in the camp. There's figures for all of this which can be shared with everyone. It talks to people. They feel they're actually connecting with someone.
We have a problem with Sudas Purim. We have a problem. I'm telling you what we're still dealing with. We cannot make the Sudas Purim in the camp because there's a lot of Goyish workers from all over the place. And they can't see us celebrating. First of all, it's illegal to consume any alcohol in Ukraine now. Until after the war, nobody's allowed to consume any alcohol. Number one. Number two, I don't want them to make the celebration there in this place where they're goyim that are working all over the place should see them celebrating. So we're looking to rent a place. We found a place. We're working on renting it to go away from camp to a closed, secluded place where the Olam will be able to have a Sudas Purim on Purim afternoon, on Thursday afternoon till at night, and then come back to camp at night after the Suda. That's what our plan right now is, which means cooking all the food, transporting it over there, and making over there the Suda and everything else, also with limited alcohol. Very, very much limited. I told him we're gonna have to use all the Litvish pshatim and Adelayoda this year. But I tell him that with Abish himself, I hope that things will work out and we'll be able to celebrate in Groisen because it'll be the next Purim. I don't know if any of you know history, but Stalin, Yamach Shemoy, died on Purim. On Purim, he died. He had a stroke and he died on Purim. And there were many tzaddikim throughout the world that spoke about it. The fact that Baruch Hashem, nobody knew yet because it didn't get out yet. There was no social media in Russia then either. Now there's no Facebook, and then there wasn't either Facebook. And nobody knew about it. And I know for the many tzaddikim that got up, one of them was Rabbi Bleich, the Stolen Rebbe, it was in Williamsburg. He got up after the Purim spiel at night, and he said, Baruch Hashem, he says, Mam gepoilt. Nobody knew what he was talking about. And then the next morning, everybody found out that Stalin pagan. So we're hoping that we'll have such a nice Purim also of this year also, and we'll be able to celebrate normal, the way it should be. But in the meantime, this is something we have to take into consideration also as the Purim Suda.
So, Rabbi Bleich, there's a question has come in. People have got questions. They feel free to ask. We'll try and raise them. How are you managing to bring the food to the refugee camp?
So you should know that even though people think that I look like a shtickle shlamazel, I don't know what's going on in the world, but it happens to be that we prepared for this eventuality. We bought food. We have a refrigerated truck the truck itself, we yarshened over from Odessa that was there before us, but we bought chicken and meat before the war started. We bought out enough to supply a camp and a community for at least a month of kosher food, of chicken and meat. This is an unbelievable thing, but you should know that people didn't understand why I spent so much money on food before the war started. Spent a lot of money. How do I have money and how do I have food that if on Friday afternoon 40 people ended up coming into the shul, they all went out full, nobody went away hungry. There was enough food in the shul to feed anybody that came that Shabbos. And I spoke to them before Shabbos. I said, what are you doing? They said, don't worry, Rabbi Bleich, we have enough food here. Everybody's going to be happy. to buy the food that we need, vegetables and fruits and stuff like that we buy locally, and in Baruch Hashem in the Carpathians. One of the issues that I was challenged with in Belz, which is near Lvov, there was no food. So we told the bus driver, I gave him money. Every place that I had, I was running 3 camps, Belz, Premeshlan, and Yampoli. Everyone had a package from the Zhogbus of gute Sachen to use that they had to buy money, they had to buy food. We took the bus driver and they sent him to Lvov to pick up food. 16 hours later, you're talking about 50 miles. 16 hours later, he called that he's stuck in traffic. He's staying to sleep overnight in Lvov. This is what led to me, one of the reasons why I evacuated the camps over to one place, because the logistics of getting food for all of them was becoming too difficult. And now, Baruch Hashem, we're able to do it. We still need food. Don't think. I'm asking when people are sending these food packages, they're good, and I get 40 calls a day from 40 different organizations that are representing Klal Yisrael, collecting all the information to send everybody food. We just sent everybody the same list. So far, we didn't get anything from anybody, but at least they got from us. They got lists from us. So we're able to, to send out. We know what we need. Don't forget, I have Gershon Yechanan and Yeshua taking care of the kitchen. Anybody with a Machane Shuva knows what that means. You know what I'm saying? So Baruch Hashem, nobody's going out hungry. Enough food, Baruch Hashem. You could never dream, they would never dream that they're in a refugee camp. Somebody asked how we get money into Ukraine. When the war is over, I'll tell you. It's none of your business. Now, what we're doing, Baruch Hashem. But Baruch Hashem, we're able to, listen, during war, funny things happen during wartime. One of the funny things that happens is that banks don't work anymore. People don't trust the banks. So the next person to trust, if you don't trust the bank, is the rabbi. You understand what I'm saying? So we get Baruch Hashem, that's what we do. But without getting into too much detail, don't worry, I'm getting calls from all of the Jewish organizations and communities, if I can help them also. We're helping, obviously I'm helping anybody and everybody, but Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of stuff going around that we're able to do what we have to do. I have to pay for the buses. The buses I have to put out, you have to understand, I have to put out the days that I had to put out 100K just for the buses in one day. And if you don't pay your buses today, you don't get buses tomorrow. I don't know if you have what's going on over here. It's a massive thing going on. I have buses for days that I had 7 or 8 buses on the road at the same time, because yesterday's buses didn't come back and I had to send out today's buses. And the bus is there and I needed to go take people from this camp to that camp and from here to there and from the border to bring back. It was a nightmare of logistics that Baruch Hashem we went through. Baruch Hashem with Siyata D'Shmaya, unbelievable. We were able to get where we had to go, how we had to go, when we had to go. It was tremendous Siyata D'Shmaya.
I have a question. What happens when they go to we have buses going to the border? What happens to them after they get to the border?
This is one of the questions that when we started, I didn't have the time to even deal with this. People were calling me, and I was too busy. But Baruch Hashem, now that I have someone that's helping me with the logistics, it became much easier, and I became very, very strongly involved in setting up things at the borders. The basic structure of what's happening now at the borders is something that I worked on for the last week. Since last week Sunday, when I was on, before that even, I was on conference calls. And Bleich from Kiev, and I kept on telling them, Rabbi Say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You have to understand. I'm talking to Satmar people and people that barely understand English. I know you say this in Yiddish, but I know that it works in English. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We must plan. And the plan that I made up for them was to have one person responsible in every single one of the border places. Food should come in through 4 places. The Ruchnias, 4 places. The 4 headquarters that we have to work on, besides what's going on inside Ukraine. And Baruch Hashem saying when they get to the border. So today, when you get to the border, I told you in Caritas is a Catholic charity run by the Catholic Church from Rome. When you get to the Caritas place in Barebash, on the other side of the Hungarian border, there's a big sign, kosher food. People get kosher things. Yeah, from people meeting the buses, asking them, are you Jewish? Do you need a place to stay? Do you want to have a kosher meal? Come with this bus. This bus is going to the kosher hotel. It happens to be Siyat D'Shmaya that the kosher bus has been taking all the people for the last few days because it's a holiday here and the joint wasn't able to get buses. So the kosher bus took them, dropped off the non-Jews or wherever it is that are there in the place that have to get in their place, and then took all the kosher people to the hotel the kosher hotels. There's a lot of stuff going on at the borders. There's a lot that still has to be done at the borders. I don't know who CG is, but yes, people are needed by the borders to help. However, it has to be done a coordinated effort. And Menachem can speak about how to coordinate this issue with people that want to volunteer by the borders. Lechatchila, Russian speakers. How do we know who's Jews? We don't know who's Jews. When we save lives, we don't ask them who's Jews. But once they get over the border, then we start asking them who's Jewish. And if they want to go to a kosher place, and people that aren't Jewish, the guys by the border were telling me that it's pretty interesting how it's working, that nobody tells them they're Jewish if they're not, because what do they need it for? They can go wherever they want. They're free. They can go to Europe. They can go to Germany. They can go to wherever they want. Besides that, if somebody's screaming in Yiddish at you, that's what he called me today. The guy says, I don't know what to do. This lady is screaming at me in Yiddish, that she doesn't know why she came here. She'd rather die with the bombs than die over here. But if a guy's screaming in Yiddish, basically someone screaming like that in Yiddish is definitely Jewish.
Mm.
Good. Thank you very, very much, everyone. Please be in touch with us. The Machane.
One second, we got a question now about bringing supplies.
Sorry, go on.
You should know that it depends where you're going to bring supplies. In different places, they need different things, and it's kedai to be in touch with wherever you're going before you go about supplies. We, for instance, need Gemara Makas. One of the Bachrim that ran away didn't take his tefillin. We need a pair of tefillin. We need Sidurim, Chamoshim. We need yarmulkes and tzitzis. People's tzitzis are torn and stuff like that. It's one of the kids running around the camp without a yarmulke. His mother said he only had one yarmulke. When they ran, he lost his yarmulke, a little kid. So if anybody's coming to the Hungarian border, these are the things that we need. I have a list of Tashmish Kedusha that we need. Sidurim, Chamoshim, even though we got from the shul some stuff, we still need Sidurim, Chamoshim, Gemara, Smakas. That's what the yeshiva is learning now. Right now, they're making copies from papers, and they're learning from papers. All of us know how conducive that is to learning. And yarmulkes and tzitzis, washing cups, a samovar for Shabbos. The hot plates that they have aren't really working the way they should be. We had cold shalom, Baruch Hashem, this Shabbos. Saying there's things that have to be done, that have to be worked on, that if people are coming, whichever border you're going to, you should be in touch with the people in charge to see what you can bring along.
So if people do want to send things, they send it to the Hungarian side of the border, and you can arrange for it to be picked up from there.
As long as I'm here, I could, have someone come and go through. But I think that if we have a shipment, yes, we have people that are able to go out and come back in.
Right.
Yeah, they have cars and they're able to go out and come back in. If we're looking to girls to come for Purim, where to? To Ukraine? No, we're not taking any girls for Purim. The only place that's set up to take girls for Purim may be Tikva Odessa, that's in Romania, but you have to be in touch with them because they're also very, very far. If I'm not mistaken, from the airport, they're on the Black Sea, on the other side of Romania. But could be that
they don't have room, they said, and they're very far. They said it's unpractical. I spoke to them. I tried.
Yeah, I know that they're very, very far. I looked because I thought I would chapsach over there also from Hungary to Romania, right across the border. But then I put it into Waze or to Google Maps. I saw it's a 12-hour trip. I figured I would miss Lava Malka.
Good. Okay. Thank you very much to everyone. Please reach out to us. We'll reach out to you. We have a group. It's called Kiev Teams Update Group. We send all the updates, regular pictures, regular.
Very
videos.
good question. Before Nelson, I'm sorry for jumping on you.
Please.
This could Bleich. Bella Tabishkin is asking whether or not we can be Machane Matanas Lavyonim on Purim through this page. What can we do for Matanas Lavyonim? A great question.
I think that we have to make a separate page that we'll be able to give over on the day of Purim. In other words, we should open one page that will be for Matanas Lavyonim, people that want to be Yitzhak Mitzvah Matanas Lavyonim, and I'll make sure to give it over on the day of Purim to the people that are there that need it. You follow me?
Yes.
Instead of going to the general pot, I can't promise you that we're going to be able to distribute it. But if there's a thing that people want to be Yitzhak Mitzvah, and we'll be able to give them give it out on Purim, it would be a very good thing.